Hello everyone, my name is Mila, I'm Ukrainian, live in Ukraine, and for over 4 years my life has been actively connected with foreign languages. For more than 2 years I have been a tutor of German, I worked in Germany for a year and a half, and for a month and a half I have been learning my third foreign language, Spanish. In this video I'm gonna share with you my principles and methods for learning a foreign language at the initial stages, at the level A1. The goal is to start understanding this language from the day one, and most importantly, to be able to speak this language and achieve better and better results going forward. These learning principles are based on my own experience and my work with my students. Of course, I'm not forcing you to follow these principles, you can choose your own approach to learning. I support the view that when learning any foreign language, it's essential to start speaking it, composing simple sentences from the first day of learning. As practice shows, it's entirely possible. First, we gradually learn to think in this language, make our brain to work, and second, even when we can speak just a little, we see our progress and feel motivated to continue learning. So, the key principles for learning a foreign language at the level A1. First, it's essential to understand your motivation. Without a clear understanding of your motivation, it's highly likely that you will either stop learning soon or find it burdensome and stressful. There are external motivation, for example, working or studying abroad, creating a blog in a foreign language, and internal motivation when you enjoy the process of language learning, like speaking it. From my experience, both external and internal motivations are necessary, but internal motivation holds greater importance. For example, I seriously started learning English just 6 months ago. Of course, I was studying English in school, but I couldn't speak English at all and I even didn't understand it. 2 years ago, I spent a few months learning English with a tutor, but my motivation was very unclear. I thought I should know English because it's an international language, even though I had happily lived 24 years without it. So I didn't study English consistently, I didn't like my way of learning, and after a few months I gave up it altogether. However, 6 months ago I made a significant internal decision to master English at a good level. Initially, I dedicated just 1 hour a day to learning English using methods I enjoyed. And gradually, I realized how much I liked this language. It was so enjoyable to converse in English. It was something fresh and exciting in my life, even though I didn't like English before. So I increased my daily study plan to 2 hours. Seeing my progress, I set a goal to start my English speaking YouTube channel, which I've been doing for 3 months. On one discipline alone, we won't get far. Any discipline relies on motivation and self-belief. Often we forget why we are learning this foreign language. Therefore, you can write down in points what you achieve while learning this language and periodically reread it. By the way, this motivation can apply to everyone. By learning a foreign language, I improve my memory, thinking skills, discipline, and prevent some brain-related diseases. Second, more grammar, less vocabulary. I remind you this is only at the level A1. Why more grammar, less vocabulary? Let's say you've learned many words, but what's the use of them if you can't compose coherent thoughts from those words? Sentence is not just a collection of words, it's a grammatical structure that conveys separate idea. I book now read is not a sentence, but I'm reading a book now is a sentence. At the beginner level of language learning, everything seems very complex and scary. Completely new grammar rules, new pronunciation, and if on the top of that we load ourselves with a huge number of new vocabulary, our brain won't cope and we will not remember anything. So it's worth taking, for example, 10 words and just juggling them, creating many simple sentences. For example, let's take the verb to be and create sentences like I'm a teacher, he is a teacher, are you a teacher, they are not teachers, and so on. First, It's essential to understand the principles of language structure, how to correctly compose various sentences grammatically, and then, based on the learned grammatical patterns, create new sentences with new vocabulary. For example, we have learned the conditional simple tense pattern in German, Ich würde dir helfen. Then we can replace words in this pattern and create new sentences like Ich würde es nicht machen, ich würde ihn anrufen, and so on. If a particular grammatical topic seems challenging, don't get too fixated on it because we'll encounter it frequently in the future, allowing us to repeat and improve it. However, of course, without rushing, it's essential to understand and practice every topic. Third, work only with really necessary vocabulary. As I mentioned before, the level A1 is not advisable to load yourself with too many new words. If you are intensively learning a foreign language, 40 to 60 new words of active vocabulary per week are enough. And these words should be widely used and diverse. There's no need to learn synonyms and enormous numbers like 2,624,279. Firstly, it's challenging, and second, you don't need it. It's unnecessary unless you really need it in your life. And of course, even at the level A1, you can develop your passive vocabulary by reading and listening to many materials in this language without writing down and learning every new word. If you are already living in the country where this language is spoken, focus on learning these words that are relevant to you. For example, if you have a child and want to converse with other parents about children, search for words and phrases related to this topic. Need to visit a bank and clarify something? Prepare in advance, write down your request, and learn a few additional words related to topics money and bank. I personally oppose learning words in isolation from context because it's not very effective. Instead, it's better to look for and write your own dialects and text using these new words, and then retell out loud those new texts and dialects, not individual words. You might wonder, how can I write these dialects and texts if I don't have enough grammar knowledge? You can find educational materials with ready-made dialects and texts and then analyze and learn from them. I recommend using only the translators that provides grammatical forms of the word along with different expressions and sentences demonstrating its usage. This way you can analyze how this word is used in different sentences and then create your own sentences. It's essential to have someone who can review your text and dialogues for mistakes. It can be a native speaker, a teacher, or even artificial intelligence. In many languages, nouns have specific genders. For example, masculine, feminine, and even neuter. This is a life hack how to remember these genders easier. In our texts and dialogues, we sketch nouns with specific certain markers. For example, masculine in blue, feminine in pink, and neutral in green, for example. This technique engages our color memory. We'll recall, I remember that the German word Zeit was pink, so it's feminine. Fourth, work on all aspects of language. Speaking, listening comprehension, writing, reading, we should practice all these aspects harmoniously. For example, when we analyze a dialogue, we should first listen to it, then read it, analyze the grammar and vocabulary, compose similar sentences, then practice retelling this dialogue out loud, record ourselves, and then listen to compare our pronunciation. As a tutor at my lessons, I focus on speaking skills even with beginner students. I ask questions to pull out their vocabulary. For example, when discussing modal verbs, I ask questions like, what can you do and which things you cannot do? What must you do and which things you must not do? And similar questions. It makes my students to recall the vocabulary they already know and maybe hadn't even consciously thought about. As it turns out, anyone can speak, knows many words, you just have to take it out. If you are currently learning a foreign language, I believe that you will succeed. Because if you have mastered your first language, you can master second and third one. And the age, as practice shows, doesn't matter. Children, despite having fewer worries and more time, lack this life wisdom and understanding as adults, and this life experience plays an important role in learning. So I wish you much inspiration in learning a foreign language. I thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to my channel. Write about your experience of learning a foreign language, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!